Hi, I'm Mark Unger, producer of Roundtable. Because we find this presentation so special, we really would like for you to see this. Please watch.
Hello and welcome to Single Shot at Roundtable at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Last time we were speaking with Lisa Du Bois. We was talking about exceptional art she creates herself, but we barely touched another interesting angle of her career. She actually curates and directs a gallery right here in New York, and she was very kind to invite us. Thank you very much, Lisa, for inviting us.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, this is really exceptional place. I'm really wondering, I didn't hear about it before, and when I read about it, it's actually becoming to be quite famous. It's, as I understand, not just a community gallery supporting the community artists, but now it's also a hub for international artists who want to promote their art in New York and to talk about.
Yeah, well, Harlem has become a very international place to live. So there's lots of art, lots of restaurants. There's an amazing change happening here. So I'm really excited to be here for sure.
In a way, it is true Renaissance for it. That's what it initially was meant to be, and it's really exciting that everything like this gallery is starting to appear and places starting to get so.
Well, we're trying to promote people in the neighborhood, as well as we're expanding outside of the neighborhood as well, a little bit outside, but it's Manhattan, and we look for artists that have a style and photographers that are established and some that are emerging, but, you know, everyone has their own style, and so I'm looking for people that are innovative in their creativity and you know, reliable.
So this would be some of the reasons why you choosing the artists for the gallery, right?
Well, when I'm choosing an artist for the gallery, I'm looking like first at their style and seeing if they have their own style. And also temperament, you know, with the artist, what kind of person they are, how they approach the art. But it's very interesting to meet the different artists and see how their mind works and how they approach the art, as well as photography. But there's a tremendous amount of difference between photographers and artists.
Of course. And how, as a curator, you see the difference in terms of exhibiting, presenting it to the public, making it...
Well, for photographers, when the photographer is presenting their work, it's they have a lot of different ways in which they can present it. You know, either as a print, in a frame. Now we have so many different ways to present art. As you can see, these are done in a different way, where they don't actually need glass, and in many ways that's better because you're eliminating the glare. You know, so I like that kind of style. As you can see, there's photos here.
As I understand that some of your exceptional art pieces are on this wall, right?
Yeah, well, this is my work here, and at the far end over there, we have Eduardo Duarte, and we have a photo here by John Brathwaite, and on the desk we had Kwame Brathwaite, and Kwame is an exceptional, he's been around for a long time, he's a historian, photojournalist, so very proud to have him and his brother, John Brathwaite.
We'll ask you to give us a tour later on, but
sure.
What I was really wondering, you're creating art yourself. How does it influence what you do as a curator and a director of the gallery? How is it helping you maybe, or how it makes it more difficult maybe being an artist?
Well, it's difficult in the sense that I get so inspired, you know, that I want to go home every night and just start painting or taking photographs. So I'm truly inspired when people come in and they're showing me their work and they're telling me their stories. So when I see so much art, it influences me in that sense that it motivates me.
It's a good thing. It's not making it more difficult.
No, it's definitely, that's the only difficult part, that I want to do so much more. So everyone that walks in here, photographer or artist, is inspirational for me.
Wow, it's a beautiful thing to have, and I think you're the perfect person to run the gallery in this way. And as an artist, what would you say would be important points for, say, photographer when they're trying to make it, when they're trying to present their work?
I think for a photographer or an artist, they need to know the market. They need to know the galleries that they're approaching, because not every gallery is for every photographer or every artist. So you need each artist and each photographer should research and see what the gallery is showing. And if their work fits into that, then that would be a gallery that they should approach. But they should not walk into the gallery and just say, hey, can you show my work? They should look and find out how the gallery accepts the person or how they review the work. Usually you send in JPEGs of your work and then it's reviewed and then they tell you to come in for an interview.
And again, if we're talking about how you can get an artist into a gallery, the natural question would be, in your experience, what would be the most common mistakes, common faux pas?
I think the most common mistake a photographer would make, or an artist, is pretty much what I just said. Trying to go someplace that they don't fit in, their work doesn't fit in. So if you're a landscape artist, landscape photographer or artist, you need to go to a gallery like that. And you also, presentation. You know, your presentation should be on point. Like it should be the best that you can show.
So basically, when an artist is setting his foot in a gallery, he expected to present his work in what would be the best way to present work?
You mean when you walk into a gallery?
Yeah.
Well, once you get your appointment to come into a gallery, I would suggest that you bring one piece of work and then maybe photographs on your device to show all the other photographs or of the images that you've done or the artwork that you've done.
Oh, I guess it's changing, because even a couple of years ago, every article you would read about it would suggest that you never ever should bring it up, that it have to be physical object.
Well, I said you should bring one piece.
Just one?
Well, when it comes to working with a gallery, it's extremely important that you follow their guidelines, because no two galleries have the same guidelines. So you have to find out and then pursue those guidelines.
That makes
Specifically, because if you don't, you could be going out of where they want you to go, and then that kind of reduces your chances of being in the gallery. There's also other ways for photographers and artists to get exposure. There's so many contests out here. There's fellowships, there's grants. So a photographer or an artist is not just restricted to putting their work in a gallery.
Well, that's definitely so, and it's a lot of information to talk about.
I think one of the key elements, especially for photographers, is to edit your work, is have your work edited. In other words, when you do show your work, you don't want to show too much. Because
curate yourself before you're asking curator to look at it.
Yeah, so you really want to show only your best work and not too much, because people get bored looking at too much.
Oh, absolutely. Even if it's a great work, going over 15 pieces, I would say it's already becoming to be an ideal. Absolutely. And say an artist convinced a curator that he's good enough for being exhibited and his work is worth it to share with the public. What would be the steps for preparing for the exhibition? How they need to be prepared for it?
Artists and photographers prepare differently. One of the things to remember is that artists have their work is usually painted and ready. Photographers have hundreds and thousands of photographs in their computer. So when they're getting ready to do an exhibition, more than likely they have to go to the computer, get the photos, send them to a lab, and have them printed. So that's the first thing they have to do. Edit out the photos, pick out what they want, decide what kind of way they want to present it, if they're going to present it as a photo in a glass or a photo like this. So there's so many different types of photographs that you can the way you can have it photographed.
Absolutely.
And so there's a big difference. With photographers, it's a different process because it takes usually a longer time for them to get it printed. An artist will just go in their apartment, pull out the picture and bring it into the gallery. So that's why it's a little different. But it's also important for artists to have a good photographer photograph their work so that the JPEGs represent the work accurately.
That's actually a completely separate subject. We will at some point have the whole episode talking about correctly photographing artwork. It's a very specific thing. But let me ask you something else. Besides just bringing your ready works and having them on a wall, I'm pretty sure we can go on for half an hour talking about how it has to be on the wall, but let's not get that deep into it. You also need to prepare some materials people can take with them. And besides just business card, what in your opinion would be a good thing to have some kind of brochure, flyer maybe?
For an artist, for himself? Yeah, it's great if you have a good card. I have some over there that could show you some examples. They should have a card to represent themselves. So that would be the first thing, because when you go, anywhere you go, when you're going out networking, you should have a card to present to people.
Yeah, from your experience, what works better for them? The simple business card, basically black and white.
Would you like to see a few as an example? When we walk around, I can show you.
We kind of press this time, but we can take a look and we will be going with So the first step is to create an artwork and present it properly. The second step is to convince a curator that your work is worthy to be put on the wall of a gallery. But there is one more very important step left, to convince a collector that he actually wants to get a piece, and that actually takes a skill and understanding how to interact with the person in the gallery, how to greet them and how to proceed talking to them about the artworks.
I agree that when the person comes into the gallery, it is very important to interact with the person. However, you don't want to overwhelm the person. So when a person is coming into the gallery, what I do is give them a little bit of space, first of all, so they can walk around and absorb the work. And then I don't let anyone leave the gallery without me personally speaking with them.
That's very good.
I think it's important to have that kind of contact with the person, and sometimes a conversation will actually lead to a sale, whereas if you leave them alone, they kind of might walk out the door. So as far as collecting, for photography, most collectors are really looking for vintage work. That's the most valuable work. And that's work that was taken with a film camera using 35mm film and then having them printed in the darkroom. Now, if it's a photo that was taken like in 1969 or 1970 and it was printed at that time, that particular print is more valuable, which I'll show you an example of one of those. That's more valuable than a picture that's taken today, digital, and printed with a printer, that's available anywhere. So that's what increases the value of a photograph, for sure.
So naturally, the question for a contemporary artist, especially a contemporary photographer, would be, what can I do to bring the value of my work in the eyes of the collector to this vintage prints?
Well, using a film camera will automatically make it more desirable for collector, for sure.
Maybe some things you can do in the way you present your work and the way you print it. I mean, I see that you print your works in a specific manner that reminds and reflects the traditional approach to presenting photographic work.
Right. Well, now there's more choices because these printers now can do an amazing amount of different types of printing. Which, when we walk around the gallery, I'll point that out to you. The different types of photography printing.
So why don't we take a tour and see what you have here today?
Okay.
exceptional photography. Which one we should start? Probably the one on the front.
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out to you, we were talking about collectors and collecting photography. This photograph is a piece of work by Kwame Brathwaite, who is a real photo historian. Right now he's at the Museum of the City of New York, and there's a picture of Nelson Mandela when he was visiting Harlem on 125th Street. So that's a really exceptional photo that I'm very proud to have in the gallery. This is also one of his images as well. This photograph also is a collector's photograph because this was done like in 1969. And it was printed at the time that it was taken. So it was printed in darkroom, which adds to the value. And I love this photo. It's old New York. This book also, in terms of collection, this book is a book by Jamal Shabazz. And he is an exceptional photographer. It's a 40-year retrospective of his work. So those are collector's books, actually. So that's why I have those here. It's Pieces of a Man by Jamal Shabazz. This is a photo that I took in India in Varanasi, and as far as collecting, they're limited editions. So if you have limited editions of a photo, it's more valuable. Just like these photos here, these are all limited editions. These were all taken by Eduardo Duarte, who's from Peru, and these were taken in Mali. And so, love these photos. And again, talking about the way to actually display your work. These photos are like a medal, and they have a beautiful, patina more or less on them because it's just the way that it captures the photograph, and they're very heavy as well.
In your opinion, what is a good amount for the limited edition? Some people say 3, some people say 5.
It really depends. Like for instance, this photo, there's only 3 left, and he's very old, so he's not really going to go back in the darkroom. So that the less limited editions you have, the more valuable.
The better.
Yeah, these are 5 apiece. Like so, you want to go between 5 and 25, depending.
Okay, so 25 is basically
25. I would top it there. Yeah.
I've seen some as 100.
Oh yeah, between 5 and 25, depending on the rarity of the photo.
So, how many you put it on those beautiful?
15.
15.
And this series of images were done in sort of a platinum, sort of sepia tone. It's sort of like a tone between sepia and platinum. And they were also printed in the same way, except for...
So as I understand, these ones are not printed on metal, even though they have the feel of metallic print to them.
Right, well, like I said, yeah, like these are printed on metal. This is regular print, but it's printed on a thicker board, and again, you don't have to use the glass, which is what I like, and it eliminates all the glare and gives them a better picture to look at when you're in a gallery, a better experience, a better viewing experience. This is a series of photos from, we were discussing ethnographic photography the last time. This is a series that I've done on water rituals. And they were done mostly in a sepia sort of platinum color, which gives them, which is not traditional black and white.
Well, and this water rituals, what is it? I didn't hear much about the whole phenomena.
You mean the ethnographic? Yeah, we discussed a little bit of that, but this is culture, subculture photography, where it's not on the mainstream, it's on the fringes of society. So it's this particular section of photographs were taken at the Tribute of the Ancestors, which takes place in Coney Island. This was in New Orleans. It's a voodoo woman, rituals on the beach, again, voodoo woman.
And as I understand, this work is also yours, and this is something...
Right. This particular photograph was taken at the fire hose baptism, which is a tradition that takes place in Harlem in the summer, and people are baptized by fire hose. So at this particular moment, the water's coming down, the women are in that moment of ecstasy, and this is a photo art image because it was a photograph originally, but it's been printed on canvas and I've painted over into the entire photo.
Well, it's definitely an exceptional piece.
And as you know, here at X Gallery, we have a variety of different types of artists, which brings me to show you this work right here of Patricia Talbot.
And I do believe Patricia is here. Come on in, Patricia. Say hello to us.
Come in and just present her work.
Very interesting art.
So yes, I started 2 years ago with metal at the Art Students League here in New York. And African mask, African art is something I was really all the time inspired. So I did 5 different masks, and 5 approach, completely different, welded, painted, grinded, and yes, I had the chance to meet Lisa.
She's great to work with.
Yeah.
Very beautiful person.
No, and as I understand, the creator of this beautiful image of Old Harlem is also today in the gallery.
This is a vintage image. It is a collector's item. We have the photographer happen to come in today as well, so we can introduce him. His name is John Brathwaite, who's also a photo historian and a jazz photographer. This is John Brathwaite, and he took this photo. You could just tell us like a little bit about, when you took the photo.
Yeah, it was about 1970, about that time period. It was a daycare center in that area of Harlem, not far from here. And they were in recess and jumping double dutch.
Which is something you don't see too much anymore.
Yeah, but one of the other interesting things is at the time, the Muslims were really catching a lot of flack because just for being Muslims. And here was the image of them just being kids. And I thought that was really interesting, and I think a lot of people...
it's indeed an exceptional capture, a beautiful moment in Harlem's history. Probably should have you on single shot talking about photography of
yeah, they're more, but this is one of my favorite photographs.
It's indeed a beautiful masterpiece.
Thank you.
And as I understand, you also have some pretty exceptional painting here, right?
Yeah, we do. I just want to point out before we move across, this is a work by an artist by the name of Wilhelmina Grant. And she does assemblage, which is found objects and, mixed media, interesting work.
Talking about all art being interchanged and infused in one to each other.
Everything is connected. All art is really connected. So as we move around here, I have 2 pieces of work from Ekaterina Abramova, who happens to be from Russia, and she might be here today, but I'm not sure. So that's her work. This work right here is from a man, his name is Papa Goratol. He's from Africa, and as you can see, he does this exceptional work.
Good.
And then we have over here the work of Adrian Hashimi, and he's from Malaysia, and he happens to be here today as well. So I'd like to introduce him for a minute. Come over for a minute, Adrian.
Hi.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is beautiful work, and in a way, it's even though it's very surreal, it has some elements of photorealism in it for me, at least the way I see it.
Thank you. It happened to end that way, I guess.
No, it's truly exceptional, yeah. And what was this work representing for you?
It's basically I was into mask, and the idea of people when we wear masks we can actually be our real self rather than the other way around, because you mask your own emotion so you can be more truthful without showing your own true self.
Don't fail to a degree.
Yeah, so that brought me to all the mask, and so this is part of the mask series.
Oh, we really have an exceptional collection here, and
Thank you.
I'm sure it's really worth visiting whenever you have an exhibition.
Definitely, you should definitely come over.
So
when we have an
the name is X Gallery.
X Gallery. We're located at 163 Malcolm X Boulevard. Gallery was actually named after Malcolm X, and we have people coming here from all over the world. Tourists come here, and we also have a website, which is www.xgallery.nyc.
Yeah.
And we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. So this is
You're very easy to find on Google. I actually just did it. Yeah. All right, so thank you.
I'd like to mention one other thing. The gallery itself, we're connected with a real estate agency that we're trying to help renovate some of the churches in Harlem because they're so historical as well. So
it's definitely part of what Harlem is, the churches of Harlem.
Oh, the churches are so important because they add so much to the architecture alone is one of the, so many people actually come here just to visit churches.
Absolutely. And they're just as well important for the community. The whole garden of Harlem was built around its churches at some point.
Absolutely. People, you know, people use the church as a very safe place to go to during very difficult times.
I can imagine. Oh,
in fact, in New York, I think it's one of the only places you could sleep on the steps and not get arrested.
Oh. No, it's a whole completely different story and different discussion.
Exactly.
Maybe one day,
we'll
but I just wanted to thank you for inviting us to this beautiful place.
Thank you for coming. I'm so happy.
Looking forward to see you again. Thank you.
I hope you found that worth watching as much as I did. I'm Mark Unger for Roundtable. Thanks for watching.